CISA.
Okay.
He has done CISA from Osaka, USA, Bachelor of Commerce from Madras University, Certified Data Scientist from Microsoft. He's a director of a company, Ojas Consultancy Services Private Limited, focusing on data analytics specially. He specializes himself in areas of data analytics and IFRS. He is freelance trainer for both corporate and student community in area of information assurance and data. He has handled multiple assignments on huge data volume in the past. A visiting faculty of Auditors General Office, Chennai and ICI. Venkatesh sir, on behalf of Ahmedabad ICI branch, I welcome you, sir, to the seminar.
Okay. So, am I audible? Can I continue?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay. Just a moment. So I will start presenting the screen.
Yes, sir, sure.
Yeah, sure. So friends, good day. It is indeed a pleasure in connecting with you all over Zoom and expressing some of my thoughts on preparation of financial statements using Excel and the CMA reports as well. So here, in this course of our discussion, our point of focus is going to be in terms of how we can make financial statements using Excel in a better manner, and how that can improve our efficiency, how we can reduce the time that we're going to spend in our offices in preparing the financial statement. Certain tricks of the trade which will help us to make it faster and make it better. That's the objective of this whole session. And so I once again thank the Ahmedabad branch of ICA for the opportunity to connect with you all and discuss some of the thoughts on this particular topic. I believe we can keep this session as interactive as possible, so that it will not be a monologue, but by which people can also have certain questions that is posted. So you can put it in chat, and where we can have certain QA session, I think we can keep the mic open, subject to what is the norm that has been generally followed by Ahmedabad branch. So with that, we'll go inside the session. So this is, again, it's on Excel. So I would be jiggling around between Excel and PowerPoint and Tally and Excel, because there's no point in taking a session about Excel without using Excel, right? So it doesn't make any sense on it. And if anyone wants me to repeat something that I've done, you can put it in the chat window so that you can do it again, so that it will be beneficial for everyone. Now, so first of all, if I'm going to tell you that I'm going to introduce you to a newer concept in totality, and I'm wrong, because I think by and large, most of the chartered accountants offices would be drafting financial statement, either as a separate engagement where you do audit support for a client of yours, or as an auditor. Once the books of accounts is freezed by the client, you prepare the financial statement so that you are sure that disclosures are adequate, and you are ensuring that things doesn't go wrong because of the lack of technical expertise at the client end. So preparing financial statement using Excel is something that we do every day, bread and butter for most of the chartered accountants. So I'm not going to introduce you something that is completely new, completely total. But what I'm going to discuss over the session is going to be how can that be done much faster, how can that be done in a more organized way, how that can be done, which will ensure that most of the errors are eliminated, and we are kind of more comfortable in preparing this particular statement. So that's the whole objective at which I'm going to discuss this entire session. So the first point is on what are the challenges that we have as chartered accountants in preparation of financial statement. What kind of challenges are we facing? That these challenges are something that would be the ultimate point of this discussion. So if not, we are having any challenges, there is no point in having a session about Excel and financial statement using Excel, right? So the objective of this session is to address some of these challenges and ensure that we do it better. That's the objective altogether. So now, first question is, what are challenges we have? The first and foremost is about preparation and review. So what happens is that if someone else is going to prepare a financial statement and you're going to review it, maybe in your organization where a senior article is going to prepare the financial statement, or a freshly qualified chartered accountant is preparing the financial statement, and a senior is going to review the financial statement. The preparer, because the Excel is as what I would say, as better as possible. The weakness of Excel being that you can do anything you want. You can put a formula there, you can put a number there, you can hide certain rows, you can put certain rows. So there is a segregation between the reviewer and the preparer. So what happens because of that? Your financial statement may not be in total what you intended it to be. So people might have different levels of understanding on Excel. So people might do it in a particular way that might be difficult for the reviewer to review. So the basic challenge is because of the time lag between preparation and review and different people having preparation and review, you are prone to have certain missing out, certain errors and certain problems and limitations with regard to that. Then next bigger challenge is continuity of resources at client and auditor end. So this is a major problem we are facing and you would be facing, because now a senior most chartered accountant is going to prepare so the senior most chartered accountant is going to the senior most article is going to prepare the financial statement in a year, and the next year he moves out of the office either on account of new opportunities or he got qualified and got a job or something like that. So what would happen is what adjustments he has done, what kind of entries he has passed, what he has done may not be visible to the incoming person. There is no continuity on that. One is there is no continuity on people at at our offices because of the nature per se. Second is there might not be continuity at client end as well. For example, during finalization, which happens in last 20 days, 15 days, you would have discussed a certain adjustment, you would have passed certain entries in financial statement as memorandum entries. People might not have perfectly taken it to your trial balance. People might not have correctly taken it to your accounting package, either tally or whatever it is. So these are the challenges that we would face. So continuity of resources is not there. So I am not aware what the predecessor has done, and the client end also there could have been a change in the people. All that becomes a challenge where the financial statement is becoming more prone to errors and more difficult to decode. It is not as easy as to find out how the entire financial statement flow. What is the trail of the entire financial statement? It's difficult to what I would say take hold of that only because of that lack of continuity among resources at auditor end and the client end. And another problem is even if there is a continuity, because of lack of time, because apparently unless and until it's a listed company, you don't prepare financial statement for a client once you would prepare generally once in a year. So which means that what I've done in the last year, I might not even remember what I've done in the next year unless and until it is completely documented and documented in a manner that we would understand. All that unless and until it is done, the continuity of resources, and even if the same resources are there, because of the lag of time, continuity in the knowledge would get lost, would get diluted. So which becomes a problem when we are drafting the financial statement. Then adjustment entries and book closures. This is something that you would have seen typically. Like for example, there would be certain audit adjustment that you would pass after the trial balance is pleased by the client. Those adjustment entries would not be rightly posted inside the Excel environment. Some might not pass it correctly in Tally environment. Adjustment entries getting passed inside Excel financial statement accurately, and that accurately passed inside the Tally environment or the accounting package, whatever it is, that is a bigger challenge because that gets missed out. Book closure is another process where you go to an audit at a subsequent date. You would have freeze the accounts by the time he has started preparing current year accounts. So current year books have started being passed. So he would have passed the entries in the last year Tally, and he might not carry forward those changes to be incorporated in the opening balance in the current year Tally. So you would come across and find it out only when you have a year end. When you do the audit in the subsequent year only, you will find out books are not closed to the last year, there is a problem in it. All that we will determine. So the third problem is adjustment entries and book closures. One, it is not accurately passed. Second, even if it is accurately passed in Excel, it is not passed properly in the books, all that. Fourth is, it is something that is prominent where you would have seen, where the trial balances are not linked properly. People type numbers in subschedules, schedules, add a number here, subtract a number there. If you want to pass an audit journal, we are at the book closure, we are at the end of the system. In another half an hour, we have to sit before the client and before our partner to have a review. At that point in time, there is one entry that is coming up. It is natural that what we will do, we will go to that item of the trial balance, add this number over there, and we will have another end where we would put the credit part also, we'll add it to the credit balance, so it will get passed. But because we have not journalized it, you are not aware what actually the transactions, because balances won't match, what entries you should pass, you don't match. I remember when I was in my article stage, the third year, we had a client which got moved to our firm recently. So he has shared the financial statement, which the other of the earlier year financial statement. You won't believe it took us 3 weeks first to figure out what are the additional entries that have passed in the last year as compared to the books that are maintained. There a lot of entries passed, the manual adjustments, X, Y, Z, everything under the sun, whatever complication that you can think of, it was there. So one is you put a manually, you type the numbers over there in the subschedules, or you add a number, you link the trial balance, then you add a number, all that. Then there are certain cases where you don't pass the entries properly. Like you have credited one account, debited another account, which is not to be debited inside Excel because Excel allows you to navigate here and there. So people would have passed all that adjustment there. Last is errors. So balance sheet is not tallying, P&L is not tallying. Balance sheet is not tallying. We are at the what I would say last moment to file the financial statement, and sudden at last moment people pass an adjustment entry. We are not aware what it is. So balance sheet is not tallying. Put a number somewhere as a balancing figure, then upload the financial statement, and let us say, okay, let us try to get to the headache later point in time, and it will forever be the headache. Next year, when we try to tally the financial statement, it will be an error forever. So there would be manual adjustment, manual errors that would necessarily make these financial statement into a manner that we are not originally intending. These are some of the challenges that you would face on a normal any drafting financial statement. Am I right? If you have any thoughts in between, you can put it in the chat window. If you're facing some other challenges apart from that, also you can add it up. Now, how are we going to solve this problem, or how are we going to mitigate some of these problems that bottlenecks that we are facing? The first thing I would do is, with Excel, the best tool that we can ever think of as of now on data or on going by the volume, going by the utility, you don't have another tool that is as what I would say, as comprehensive as Excel per se. So, you have some thoughts? Someone wanted to type something, is it? Okay. So now, being Excel as a comprehensive tool, we can use Excel in a better manner so that we can avoid most of these problems that we would face in drafting the financial statement, and which would help us to draft better, draft faster, and draft more accurate. Now, what we need to know about it. So I would have during the course of this next 1.5 hours to 2 hours, I would discuss certain functions, certain formulas, certain features that are there in Excel that would help us to prepare financial statements better. You might be aware of some of these functions. It's not that I'm introducing it, but we might discuss some of these functions in such a way that it would help people to understand things better, and it would help us to what I would say, how to use this formula better and things like that. So the first is on sum function, lookup function, which is something that we've been using quite a lot. SUMIF and SUMIFS function. This is a function. SUMIF and SUMIFS function is a function that have been used tremendously in drafting the financial statement. Round function. ABS function converting negative value to a positive value. These are some of the functions that has been constantly used while drafting the financial statement. Then there are certain features like paste special that we will use it when you are using Word, and find and replace, filters, tracing, go to as a function. These are some of the functions that we will be using. Yeah. So these are the functions. Index match, lookup and index match are used tremendously. These are some of the functions that I would take us through on how this particular financial statement are drafted. So one thing before we get into a particular session or a particular topic, what I would like to say is, as Excel is comprehensive, there is no one single method in doing it for doing a particular item. So there are multiple methods by which we can do it. So most of it, I would be suggesting in certain cases an alternative method as well. But in certain cases, by the time tested reasons, I would suggest the method that I feel is the best one. If you have another method that that works for you, nothing like that, but you can evaluate whether this is faster than that. That is something that you can evaluate and proceed with it. So with this intro, we'll go to once again. So first of all, there are two kinds of trial balances that you can ever think of. Okay, so I would you can avoid certain issues, certain problems by a roundabout method. You can avoid a problem by sorting certain things by which the problem that you're sorting is permanent in nature. So I'll tell you both the ways in which we can solve certain problems that we are going to come across in drafting the financial statement. Now, first of all your trial balances, all your accounting codes can be categorized into two. One is a coded trial balance or a named trial balance. Coded trial balance is something like what you see is in an SAP environment, where you put up that liabilities have a code. One, it starts with one. Equity has a code. It starts with two, and assets have a code. It starts with three. Your expenses, income starts with a code. It starts with four. Expenses have a code called five. Your tax expense might have a code called six. All that. So a coded trial balance is something where you are not identifying accounting ledgers by name, by a code attached to it. In certain ERPs, in certain environment, the code and the name could be attached together. So what could happen is there'll be a code and there'll also be a name that is attached to it. So let us say 101024 identified as we'll call it equity Venkat. So here there is a code and there is a name attached to it. So certain ERPs work like this. In any environment, if you want a permanent solution at your client end, at your client environment, is that if they use a coded trial balance, at least 75% of your problems are solved. If they are using a named trial balance, as in a case of Tally, if the client is someone who get accustomed, who wants to get things better and things like that, you suggest him to get and move to a coded trial balance environment. We need not change this accounting package, but very fundamentally, we educate our clients from being a normal named trial balance to a coded trial balance. I'll tell you two advantages on that. One is you will know a particular code will represent an asset or a liability or etc. So this on a larger extent would help you not just on drafting financial statement. Tomorrow, if they want to do an automation of an MIS statement, tomorrow they want to link their accounting package to some other environment, all that is doable in a single shot. So a coded trial balance at any point in time is a better trial balance than a named trial balance, because in a named environment, you don't have a control on your space becomes an additional item. But in a coded trial balance, you have certain controls by which you will prepare the code. So those are some of the advantages that you would have in a coded environment. So it is not that you should prepare a coded environment only in ERPs. Even in Tally, we can have a coded environment. Just to give you an example, can you see the screen? Can everyone see the Tally screen? So this is a model that I've created only for our purpose. So in this particular trial balance, it is not coded. It is completely non-coded. So I can have whatever I want and things like that. But instead, now if I'm going to create a ledger, what I'll do is I will first define a coding structure like this. So first I have a code which is at the end, it will have seven digits at a note level. At a sub note level, it will have 9 digits, 7 digits, and you can, if you want, you can add another 2 digits to make it 9 digits, and that would be my yardstick when I am preparing an accounts master. So this is a one-time exercise. This you need not do it for every client of yours. You can set up an account code once, and then you can replicate it in every client environment that you're going to do. So first is I'm going to create a code. Now I want to create a code called let us say a particular an account. Yeah, the Excel sheets will be shared. So now let us say I'm going to create a code called other receivable or accrued income. So what I'll first do is I will first check the overall code level. That is a primary code. Accrued expenses is an asset to me. So the code will be in 3 lakh series, 3 crore series, or 300,000 series. In that, I would evaluate the accrued income is what kind of asset, the secondary level asset about it. It could be other current assets, or if this was an IFRS environment, so it was other current assets. You could have it in other financial asset if it is another item. So we first evaluate whether it is a current item or a non-current item. We'll evaluate whether it is a other item or a current asset or a current liability item. So I'll do all that evaluation one time, and then I'll say, okay, so first I have to prepare an account for accrued income. The accrued income would come under, first I have mapped that it will come under this series. So now I'm going to start evaluating at 300 series. What are the items that I have? 300 has 3001, 3002, 334, 415, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 items in which I will have an asset category. I will share the Excel sheet for the benefit of the friends. I'll share the Excel sheet with you. So it will be shared to the branch, and I think they'll circulate it by way of Google Drive. So now I have to evaluate where this accrued income would come. So in my case, it will come under other current assets. So in my order, the other current asset is 308,000. So this is the secondary code. Now the next level is I would have 30080, which is the mapping, the secondary mapping. And this falls under the category of 3008. So I'll come to 8 here, and it will be under this category 300, 3080, 300. So that is nothing but it's a mixture of 30. Then it comes under the series 8. Under the series 8, it is coming under 03 because other receivable is first, prepaid expense is second, and this is my other accrued income. Now, if you have 4 blank from which you are going to have accrued income, what I would do is 3080301 would be my accrued income for a first branch. So I will create a ledger. It will be 3080301. Let us say you have an accrued income. Let us say from interest accrued, where you are having one particular branch, one particular bank account, say HDFC. Am I not audible?
No, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
Continue.
There was a message in the group, so and there was a chat message. So no audible. Okay, 3080301 would be the next item in the series, which will be grouped under this particular item code. So I would have it STFC interest accrued. Getting it? So now I'll do this in Tally for you. So I'm going to go to accounts info. I'm going to create a group. So I can alter all that, but I'm just going to create it fresh. So it will be 301. You can put the Tally grouping there on, or you can rename this as well. So you go here, you can rename this as well. So you can create a group there, you can put it 301. You can ignore all Tally groupings and then put 301 as a group that I want. It is a primary group. So 301, we had 308, right? So 308. So I'm going to put a group there, 30 asset, and it is a primary group. Now I'm going to create a group called 308,000, which is my other current assets, 00. Under 30 asset category. The next thing that I'm going to do is, or you can even put it as 308 if you are specifying that it is one level addition. Then I'm going to create another group called 30803 accrued incomes. This mapping is only one time, it's not like you have to do it every time. I've created this group. So I'm just altering it because this, if it is 308, it will be more understandable. Clear? So 30 is an asset group that starts with it. 308 is a group where you have other current assets. 30803 is your accrued income. So 30801 would be another receivable. 30802 would be something. Once you start creating ledgers, it will be 308300102. You can start doing it. Avoid 00, start with 01. So under accrued income, you might have a ledger. Like for example, STFC interest accrued. So I will put 3080301 as STFC accrued income. Yeah, you can import from group and ledger level from Tally and do it. That is also fair enough. It's not like I'm just trying to say that you can create it in Tally. I'm not saying this is the only way. You can do it you can create an Excel. From Excel, you can import you have TDLs for Tally for that. So you can download it in one shot from Excel to Tally. So that's not a problem actually. The problem is once you do it for the first time for your client, you might have to do where he has to repost the entries, like you have to rename the accounting code. So one time you still have to bear with the client and explain him that these are the advantages and make him to do it. Once you explain the coding structure to him, he can do it. Now there are two advantages in it. One is you know who's a vendor, who's a customer. That categorization would be even more logical because you will have an account called Venkatesan. You would have grouped it under creditors, but actually he was a debtor. But when he was creating it, he unknowingly created this debtors and creditors. All the errors. Generally, when you have a coded environment, it has been observed that people make less mistake even when creating a ledger. So all that are advantages. So first is that. Now we'll go to the second one. This is where I call it as a coded trial balance. So as such, what this trial balance is also is a named trial balance. Like there is no codes here. I don't know what it is. So it is all a named trial balance. But I would ideally suggest my clients from moving from a named trial balance to a coded environment. Let us see what are the advantages that are there in a coded environment. Now, once I have done that, so how do I start work? So I think you have now understood what is a coded environment, what is a named environment, how to move from a named environment to a coded environment. Okay. Now we'll start this exercise like this. How do you start drafting financial statements? I think there are a lot of people in the session, so it will not be. I mean, I don't know how to keep it as impactful, but let us. How do you start drafting financial statement? Let us say you are starting the financial statement drafting for a particular year. How do you start it? Most of us, even me before a couple of years, how do I start drafting the financial statement? Is I would have a last year financial statement of the client, take it up, post the current year figures to previous years, copy paste it, then download the current year DB, then start linking it, right? That's how most of us would be doing. You can respond to my queries in chat if you're, so that's how most of us would be doing. But I would say we would do it at a different level. We can do it at a different way. Correct. So tally trial balance with previous financial statement Excel. Exactly, perfect. But what I would do is before we start audit, let us say we are starting an audit season. June, you start your audits. You have 20 clients, companies, corporates you want to start audit. Before starting an audit, I would have a master model financial statement that is already ready with me. Can you see the screen? This model financial statement, I'll tell you the reason for it. The master model financial statement is already been done. So this is a Ind-AS financial statement. So there were 3 years because it was the first time in which we did for this company. All these numbers are bogus. So I mean bogus in the sense like imaginative numbers, just for the sake of this session we have heard. What we do is we have prepared a model financial statement, and in the model financial statement, I would have put what are the grouping levels that I need. So this is the base trial balance. I would have prepared a financial statement in total, like 315. This is a note that I'm going to have for provisions. 317 is a note for other receivable. 316, this would be the note for other items. I would have compiled till this level for all my clients. I would have a single template for industry specific. So if my clientele has 5 industries, say I have one client who's into hotelier, another set of clients who are into trading business. There are some set of clients who are in logistics. There'll be a couple of clients in manufacturing. So for the industry that I cater, because you might have your distinction between your revenue and other things, so I would even it out and provide one particular template ready for that particular industry. What all the things that I will do in that particular template? First, I would keep all the notes that is ready, and as I keep the notes ready, I would provide the codes that are mapped for this particular level. This is what I call it as tagging, because so you know a typical financial statement would contain something like that. I will have a balance sheet. So balance sheet would have, on the face of the balance sheet, I will have an item. So that I call it as, let us say, property, plant and equipment, or let us call something simpler, other current assets. Now this other current assets could comprise of balance with government authorities and your accrued incomes, advances to creditors, etc., etc. So now what I have is, I will have on face of some number, I will have sub note what are the items, and for the sub note I will have trial balance ka ledger. Correct. This is how the flow of the transaction is. Now what I will do is, in my Excel financial template, I will forget this because I don't know what ledger is balance with government authorities. That I don't know. That is at a client level that I don't know at all today. But I know other current assets would not comprise of anything beyond these 3. It could be 4 or 5. I'm just saying this. So when you're preparing a template, you would know there will be nothing beyond these 3 items. What I will do is, I would have planned and prepared codes for it. So what I'm doing is, I have a subgroup where I have consolidated, I have prepared what is a subgroup level, and at that subgroup level, there could be n number of items that might come. You know, all the line items of trial balance might come here. You might have n number of trial balance items, but I will not go to that now. That I don't know now. But what I know this subgroup is an item that I would like to have in my financial statement. So equity share capital, this would be part of an item called share capital. So I know this level. So I have allocated codes for here, and I have prepared myself that, let us take the example that I took, other current liabilities. There will be 4 items. One is statutory liability, advance collected from customer, employee related liabilities. Just assume these are the 3 predominant items. Now, for these predominant 3 items, I have already prepared certain codes like this structure. This is the start for I because it's an Ind AS client. There was another client for which we prepared this grouping sheet. No, I showed you, right? So this is the secondary level. This is the tertiary level. There will be 3 levels: primary level, secondary level, notes division level. So I know other current liabilities, other current financial asset 30704 will have 4 items here. Okay, I know 30708, which is about other current assets, will have accrued income. It will have advance for purchase assets, operational advances, balance with government authorities, current portion of prepaid lease rentals, etc. I know these are the items that would appear under other current assets. This mapping I have done. Now what I would do is, I will have a grouping sheet which I have ready. I'll come to this formula a little later. I have a grouping sheet that I have prepared it ready. So what I will do is, I'll do it here for you. I have a grouping sheet. In the same grouping sheet, I have all my years, 16, 17, 18, etc. Comparative year, current year, everything I have. Once I have all of this, what I will do is, in this grouping sheet level, this grouping comes from a sum of formula from another item. Okay, but my financial statement item will have a column where all the categorical group, like interest income is 1I35131, and dividend income is I351401. I have already coded it. So any dividend income I can identify with this code. That would be on the face of it, right? So what I will do is, I will prepare a formula. I'm using a VLOOKUP here. You can use another function also. It's not that it's how it is, but I'm preparing a VLOOKUP here. I will use this code and put the number here. This is the template that I'll keep ready before any clients, before I start the audit process itself. I'll do it for you for one particular item. So I have a coding sheet. So these are the items that is going to appear in my face of the financial statement. So in my template, this is my template. Right. So in this template, what I am required to do is, so first I'm starting from scratch, preparing a template. Say revenue from operations. Sale of services. Sale of goods. Now The sale of services and sale of goods is my, in the sheet, it is my C level description, correct? So I'll go to that. Revenue is fourth item. So I'll just prepare for the client that I've already done. Sale of services is this code. And sale of goods is this code. Done. I would have another sheet that is ready where there are two ways in doing it. I'll tell you both the ways. One way is list all these codes in the sheet. So, sorry, it is 4 series, not 5. All these codes at the client level, okay? And then keep the amount column ready. Sir, your screen is blurred. Now is it visible? Now is it visible? Now visible? It's visible. Okay, thank you. So what I'm doing is, I have two ways. I have prepared the codes. At this code level, I want to know what is amount totaling to this code. So there will be 100 ledgers. There will be 10 ledgers that is corresponding to this code, right? You can have, see, we would have sale of services 4044010 So a client might maintain 8% GST sale, 12% GST sale, 25%, 18% GST sale. He might have multiple ledgers on it, right? So he might keep multiple ledgers, but all these ledgers belong to this secondary group or this tertiary group. I know that this is a tertiary group I need. So I have two options for me now. So what I can do is, I will say that I want the data only at this field. I will I'll keep this ready. And at this level, I'll just give a VLOOKUP. Keep this as a base, take this as a base, and take the third column. I think I need not explain summer formulas to people, I mean, VLOOKUP formulas to people. But if you want, you can put in the chat window, I can say that. So how do I prepare VLOOKUP is look up the value that they have to look at, the formula has to look at, the column in which it start looking at, till what you want, the third column. False is an absolute match. Here there will not be any error. So this is one way. I have given VLOOKUP. So here what happens is, I have done my template ready. So the next task for me is, I have this ready. The next task for me is, putting up a formula. Okay, let us extract a trial balance. I've extracted a trial balance. The model item. So let us say the model item by item. What we see? Sales. Income. Okay, so I have 10 ledgers. So what I have to do is, all these 10 ledgers, this is the trial balance ledger. You will have an amount here. I would put only the grouping it is going to take. Now is it clear? Is the screen visible? Now this, I would just put what grouping it belongs. 40100. So I'll put the grouping. And let us say I'm putting 100 here, 100 here, and 100 here. I have put the grouping here. Then I will start using a sum of formula. So I think people will be aware of SUMIF and SUMIFS. I'll just explain it again. SUMIF is one function and SUMIFS is another function. And sum is another function. All these three functions do something similar, but with certain differences therein. SUMIF is a function where you want to sum a set of rows or columns, a set of fields, set of items in a particular field, with if it satisfies a certain condition, then we use the formula called SUMIF. If you have more than one condition, then we use the formula called SUMIFS. Okay. So if it is going to be a single item, single condition, then we use SUMIF. If you have multiple conditions, we use SUMIFS. So now in this case, there is only one condition, so I'm going to use SUMIF. The syntax of SUMIF is, what is a range? The range is this grouping. I need not select the entire range. I can just select the range it has to check. The criteria is going to be this. It has to check whether item code is matching in that E column. And then I'm going to put the amount there on. It will be 0 only for one item. It will be positive. That is automatically 300 comes. If you see the sheet, we have drafted. Once we have done this template, what we did, we prepared the face of the note. What is the subnote level? And because we have already coded it, even if your client has not given you a coded trial balance, we can do that. I'll come to that part a little later. But I would have coded at subnote level. Here, I have attached the code to it. Even if the client is not coding it, is okay. I have coded at subnote level, and I have drafted from this subcode level what should be the linkage for my financial statement. I know it now. Now the next task for me is, this is an uncoded trial balance. Once the trial balance comes, I just have to put what grouping it belongs. So that from here, the numbers would start flowing to the sheet. From here, the numbers would start flowing to this sheet. So what has happened, before even you go and start an audit procedure, I have done till this particular level. I'll use the same template. I'll not change templates. Manufacturing 10 clients, I'll have the same template. Logistics 5 clients, I'll have the same template. If you want to do certain in-between changes, like in a particular client, you don't want to group it something here, group it there, I'll do it only at TB level. Clear? So I have entirely made 75% of the draft before even going to the client place. And now what I'm doing is, I have a trial balance, which I have, once the trial balance comes, I will put a grouping to it so that automatically my financial statement got drafted. Clear with this? So what we started, you want me to repeat it? You want me to redo this task? Yes, okay. So people got till this coded environment, right? What do you mean by a coding environment, right? Okay, we can use the SUMIF in the main sheet itself. That is something that that is the other idea that I was about to tell. I'll come to it a little later. Here, there is 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages in doing that. So I'll come to that alternative after we finish this. So first is, you have primary grouping, secondary grouping, and note level grouping. Now, once I have done this grouping level, I would start, even before I start the audit exercise, I would have a financial statement card template prepared and ready. So I will have a balance sheet where it links to every line item. It has linked to every line item here, which is a basic linkage. See what kind of errors that you commonly see. You will have a number here. You might have a different number here because it is not linked properly. Okay. Sometimes what you undertake is, people might forget to total it properly. So it will have an error. So what would happen when you are at the close of an audit? You will start to see, oh my God, I'm not in a position to decode where there is an error. You will only have a difference in your P&L balance sheet, but you don't know where it is. In one case, when they are drafting, they would not have put this. Okay, there could be a case where you put a line item like this. Once you use alt is equal to, which is a shortcut for sum, it will take to the nearest row where there is no blank. So people might miss this particular portion. Correct. See, in this typical example, if I use alt and is equal to, which is a shortcut, if you use the shortcut, it will print a sum. But what would happen in general is it will print till the last row where there is no blank. Okay, it will not go to the last. You have to change it for if you want it to go to the last. So what could happen? People might put alt is equal to because they want to do it faster, and we might miss this number. It will not get added. You would not know when you're drafting the financial statement. You will only know when there is an error, when the balance sheet is not tallying. You will go there, you will check each line item, check whether everything is tallied, everything is totaled, all that casting and totaling you will do. You will waste your time. 3 days, one day will be gone. Having such experiences, we have had some experiences in the past like that, where someone has missed the total in the sub-note level, someone has missed the total in, they have not given the link properly, all that is quite possible, right? So when I have prepared a template where I'm going to make it password protected. So only one sheet someone can edit. They will not edit all these line items. So only one person who is controlling the audit, let us say the partner before he signs it, or an younger partner who is going to take care of the review of it, he will only have access to it. So what he will do is, whatever items are not wanted, I'll hide it. Clear? So I have prepared a template where till all these items are linked, whatever items will be part of this node are there. I would prepare it industry specific so that balance sheet will not have some many industry related flux, but P&L might have. So I would put industry specific linkages, and then I would keep it ready till sub-note level. How I'm going to do that? I'm going to do it again for you. You got people understood till this point? So first I will have a P&L, statement of profit and loss account. So in the statement of profit and loss account, see, people might mistake on the error on the year and things like that. So once you have drafted a format for 1 year, you are 100% sure that year and all you need not change. It's a one-time exercise. Every year you would have find that they would pass the previous year figure. Okay, I would do that. Consolidation of multiple financials and notes is in different forms. I'll go to that. Yeah. So now what I will do is, once I'm drafting it, I'll prepare all these errors of year, pakka, all that I'll do in first time when I'm doing the formatting. And I'm saying that I want it to be linked to this link. So once I have linked that, I know this is my grouping structure. So in this grouping structure, what I am doing is, I would give a VLOOKUP. I would first put what are the grouping associated with that, because this grouping is already freezed by me with this coding sheet. With this coding sheet, I know that if it is a P&L item, and in this P&L, if it is belong to a revenue from operation, this is the code that I'm going to use, 401 to 10100, things like that. Now what I'll do is, I'll do a VLOOKUP, take a balance here, put the third row, and put a third column, and keep it ready. So this is a template that will be ready even before the audit. So once you have frozen your audit, I will insert the trial balance sheet. Let us say I have one ledger as sales 18% GST, sales 12% GST, service 10% GST. I have 100, 200, 300, All I have to do is put the coding to it, what grouping it belongs, what code it belongs. If you have educated the client and you have put the coding here itself, where it is from the named TB to a uncoded TB, then even that task is done for us. Clear? You need not even redo a coding grouping, right? The grouping is already there at the client, correct? But here, because it is uncoded, what I'm doing is I'm going to say this is nothing but 401. This is 401 services. So sorry, this is 401. This is 402. This is 402. If I'm brighter, what I will do is, so this is ledger, this is amount. When it comes to grouping, I will select this entire sheet, entire row, and go to data and set up data validation, where the data validation is a list and the source of the list is this code. Oh, sorry. Source of this list is this coding structure. So you are sure that he is not going to put a number which is not part of your code. We are going one step next. First, we decided a coding structure. Now in the ledger, against the ledger, when you're putting the grouping, I'm going to put a grouping structure. I'm going to put a grouping structure. And when I'm putting the grouping structure, because it is prone to errors, I am setting up a data validation field. So there is only one possibility that he is marking a sale ledger to a income ledger or an expense ledger, which is possible. But you are very well sure that he is not going to put a line item. He is not going to put a code here, which will not be there in this particular coding structure. So what we are ensuring, sometimes you would have seen people drafting financial statement would individually go and link tally, right? For example, let us take this particular format of the financial statement. I have this group. Now here, what people will do is, let us take inventory. So what people will do is go here at subnote level, they'll go to the trial balance. So this is a trial balance that I'm going to talk about. So what these people will do, generally what people have been doing is, let us take statutory liability. They will go here, go to their trial balance and put individually 16 trial balance, sorry. I'm going here, statutory liability. I'll not put a subnote. What I'll do here, I'll go add these line item, this plus, this plus, this plus, this. Now what happens is, you have 250 items in the trial balance. Now, how do you ensure that all the 250 line items of your trial balance are drafted into the financial statement somewhere or the other? You do it only by checking the balance sheet. Balance sheet should tally, income should tally, match with the tally, all that you do as an additional check. Sometimes what happens, they would do like this. You understand the balance sheet is not tallying. You will sit with it, try to decode. Then you will go to trial balance, check whether every line item is linked. Correct? Done it in the past? Had some similar circumstances? Had such circumstances where you don't know whether they have linked all the trial balance items because the balance sheet is not tallying. You go to every line item and link it, check whether they have linked it properly. Right? Done it in the past. At least at subnote level also, people would miss certain new items, they would miss and things like that. Here, to avoid all that, what I'm doing is I am first putting a regrouping so that my financial statement would get drafted automatically. I'm using a SUMIF formula. So first thing is the financial statement would get drafted automatically. The second thing I'm also ensuring is all line items of my trial balance are having some grouping or the other. Some grouping or the other is not any appropriate, any grouping. Now, what could happen is in any trial balance, the order would be maintained, right? So now you just run through 4,000 series is what you are having. If instead of sales income, if he has put it as 5,000 series, you would know, because on skimming through itself, you will know that this series is wrong, because you will not have two line items of trial balance next to each other, which completely belong to a different structure. Getting it? So I know, okay, there is no items of trial balance that is left out, and I can also do a checking whether anything is wrongly classified. So how do I ensure that he correctly puts the grouping from my structure alone? See, if you allow him to type, instead of 401, he might put 410. So if you put that now, it will say it is an error. Getting it? So now I know 100% that every line item of my trial balance is linked, and this is a way by which I will ensure my financial statements are tallied in total. Now, one of the participants have suggested, instead of you having this particular level, you can straight away link it with sum ifs here. I'm going to put a sum if formula where my range is going to be this grouping, my criteria is going to be this particular cell, and my sum range is going to be this value. So I can do it like that also. It's not like it's not right. I mean, I won't say it's not the right manner by which it is to be done, but there is a problem in it. There is a small trouble in it. I'll tell you the trouble in that. Sum of S range is correct, criteria is 12. So this is D, comma D. I'll tell you a small problem over there. The problem over there is you need a trial balance sheet before you can draft this particular item. Am I right? You need a trial balance sheet. But my procedure is, or my approach is, I will not wait for an audit to commence or an audit to close before my template is ready. So I will not directly link it from a trial balance sheet because I don't have the trial balance sheet right now. You would have added new accounts, you would have removed certain accounts. I don't know all that, right? So in that circumstances, what I will do is I'll not directly link it from a trial balance. I will have a grouping sheet because this grouping sheet is in my control. I would prepare the template only till this grouping sheet. This trial balance sheet is not with me. Till this grouping sheet, everything is done. Once trial balance comes, I'll just put a sum of formula here and entire item would get drafted. Clear? Now, you got an idea why I'm not doing it directly at the trial balance level? Because then I would need the trial balance to start drafting the financial statement, which is not my intention. I would prepare a template, everything ready. So I will have a trial balance, just put the codes to it, automatically my financial statement would get drafted. Clear on this? So till this point, what we discussed is, we have discussed lookup, we have discussed sum ifs, we have discussed sum if and template creation and mapping sheet, mapping bar tagging sheet. These are the things that we have discussed till now. Any thoughts till now on whatever we have discussed? Any points that you want to add? Any thoughts, any points? Like, this is the final grouping that I have. Any thoughts, any points? Any thoughts? Any thoughts, any points, any views till now? Okay. Once again, where to use sum if s? Okay. Sum if, I think people are asking where sum if. Sum if this is a place where I've used here. Sum if is a place where I've used here. In my example, I'll show you. So now I have coded till this point. No, I have a coding sheet ready. Once I get a trial balance sheet, once I have a trial balance that is freezed, before that, to the trial balance sheet, I will put a SUMIF. SUMIF is where I put a range, I put a criteria, which is the code, and I have put an amount here. That's how I use SUMIF. See, SUMIF is, you need not do it in drafting. What if you haven't without a code? You don't need a code here. No, the trial balance is without a code here. Just a moment. The scene is vibrating. Just a moment. 1 minute. Now is it clear? Now is it visible? Someone said they were not in a position to see the screen. Now is it visible? I just start my check. So here, this is not a coded TB. This is a code that I am attaching to my financial statement. If it is a coded TB, you need not put this grouping. The grouping would already be there. Because it is not a coded TB, I am affixing the group to it. Clear? Can you go further? Can you go further? Now, this is where it is an ought to be scenario. That is a perfect choice. Perfect choice for everyone, where you put a code, you put an affixed trial balance, all that. Now, world is not perfect, right? So I'll tell you some tricks of the trade by which you can possibly look at how a particular financial statement is drafted in a plausible manner. Okay, so we'll go to that. So I have a tally trial balance. This is a tally trial balance. Now, whenever we start drafting financial statements, there are two things that commonly becomes a problem. One is people pass entries which is not clear. People pass entries inside the entities which doesn't make it clear. All that becomes a problem. How to avoid it? How to avoid it? So first thing is, as soon as I have a trial balance, I will put a column called adjustment. All my journals and all my adjustments will be only routed through this column. I will not draft a financial statement where I directly pass an entry inside a closing balance or a debit or credit. I would use a column called adjustment and put another column called total, where from adjustment to total I'll draft and then only start drafting the financial statement. So now let us say I want to pass one entry. So let us say that I want to pass a provision entry. Okay. So I'll take some example. Say, let us take an example of what example we take. I have to provide a provision for a transaction called expense called Venkat. Okay. So now what I'll do is I will have one list of sheet called adjustment journals. To this adjustment journal, I will debit, let us say, rent, and I'll pass it to Venkat. So this is nothing but audit journal, determined, rent missed out. So I will debit rent, credit Venkat. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little broader so that I can. So I'll have a column called amount, where let us say I'm going to debit 200 and credit 200, or let us say 1 lakh. 1 lakh. Now, what possibly people will do is, first level is directly putting the entries here. So which means that you're making the financial statement clumsier, because you will not be in a position to understand what the journal or what it is. Second level is a slighter improvement where I have a specific sheet for adjustment. Next thing what I will do is I'll go here, start searching for rent. Rent. So it should be an expenditure. So I'll start from here, or where it is. So other expenses, there should be manpower, cost, other expenses. So I put another item called rent. There should be rent. I'm just searching rent. Rent is not there in this entity. So I'll just take. I should have taken, say, a house rent, hostel rent account, which is easier. And I would have a creditor called Venkat. I would put it to what? I'll put it to Venkat. Yeah. Now what people will do, they'll go here to the adjustment column and say Venkat has to be credited. Then they will go to rental. Go here, pass and link and debit Venkat. Clear? Seen such financials in the past? Sheets and financials in the past? I won't do like that. What is the problem here? Instead, assuming you miss out passing this item. If you have a total control, you will determine that, but there could be compositing errors. You miss one debit, you miss one credit. You will never know. Correct? There are two entries. One debit I missed, one credit I missed. So same amount, you will not find out. Other problem is, instead of hostel rent, I can link it to another item. I'll come to that. Would it be easy to convert debit, credit, positive signature? I'm going to do that anyway. So now I would miss that 10,000. I could miss 1 lakh here. I could miss the credit 1 lakh here. If I'm missing the debit and credit part to the same amount value, that will also get lost. So you will never know. I would not do that. But instead, what I will do is I will use SUMIF. Yes, SUMIF. The range is going to be this. So the range is going to be this account, this column. I'm going to match it with this account, and the sum is going to be on this. So what I'll do is, whenever I'm drafting, only the account names will be here. Debit, credit. Okay, so I'll use SUMIF so that entire items get drafted. Clear? So another item for this, entire items get drafted. So before that, let us take certain, this is a trial balance that we have extracted from Tally. So we know that this is a ledger, this is a primary group it belongs, this is a secondary, this is a primary group it belongs, this is a secondary group it belongs, and this is the ledger. Now once you have extracted like this, it is a hard task to remove these numbers, because if you want to try to put a total of, let us say you want to put a total for opening balance, to check whether every item are there in a Tally trial balance, it would be difficult because it's not right. I have not changed the signs, credit negative, debit positive, not done anything. So it will be difficult. So first what I will do is, I will use my control find function and help to first eliminate the group totals. You have group totals here. First I'll eliminate it. This is where the Excel find function is of a great utility. I'm going to select the sheet. I don't want it to find something like one particular name, but I want it to find a particular format. The format is if there is a border at the top and border at the bottom, then it is a total level. So what Tally is doing is, whenever it is you are exporting a particular trial balance from Tally, it is giving you an indication that it is going to put all the primary totals with a border at the top and border at the bottom. So if there is an upper border and a bottom border, you know that it is a group total. Now you would have another level group, like in this example, you see that GST receivable is a secondary group, which is a total of all this. Now with our Control F act, this got eliminated. Now the next is a total for this, because GST receivable is under a group called GST credit. So what we'll do about it? We'll use the same control find. The preview here is it should not contain a top border. It should not contain a top border. It should only contain a bottom border. Replace. So now this trial balance, you have only the ledgers and the balances. So now I'll go up and filter credits and I want all the credits to be negative. So I'll take -1 and select all this. I have selected all the items that is appearing as a credit. Use Alt and semicolon so that only visible cells are selected. And I use a paste function, paste special function. I want it to be multiplied. So I select -1, which is a value, and it has to get multiplied to all these items. So I've converted it, all the credit into negative. So if I put a total now, there is a problem in the opening balance itself, which was adjusted somewhere, which I've manually done. Someone is asking for it. Please show again. Yeah, I'll do. I have done a manual adjustment by putting a number in the top, which will never get reflected. Getting it? I cannot do it here. I'll do it in another trial balance that we have. I'll not save this and then do it again. Now, first understood this logic. Now, what I am doing is I am eliminating all the numbers. I'm eliminating all the totals so that I don't have issues on taking the extract. Clear on this? If you have a trial balance which is extracted from Tally in this format, a task that people generally have or do is you will have opening balances not in a proper format, debits and credits not, you will have totals, subtotals, group headings, and etc., which is affecting your financial statement. So to avoid all of that, I'm using a Control F function and using a trick there so that it will eliminate all my group headings and subtotal headings. Clear? I'll do it again for you. So I'm going to undo all the adjustment that I've done. So I'm going to use, I'm starting from scratch. So I've taken this particular heading. I don't want it to happen for the totals. I want it only to be done for the numbers. So I select here, put Control F, go to format, select, it should have an upper border and also a border at the bottom. You don't put anything find here. You don't put anything in the replace. Replace. Then you want it to be done for all the primary group also, it should not have a upper border. It should only have a lower border. And yeah, it should only have a lower border. Give replace. We could by now replaced all my opening subtotal levels and total levels. Clear now? Clear? So then I can go here and select using a filter what are the items that is appearing as a credit. This trial balance won't tally because I've wantedly done it so that we can see the impact of the item. Put -1 because all the entries have to be negative, and I want to multiply this minus with everything. I select all the credits, put the values, and multiply it by 1. So that I have all my credits and all my debits. Clear? And I'll do the same thing for all the credit transactions. And now in the closing balance, I will just put opening balance plus debit plus credit so that I am 100% sure that there is no error whatsoever in the financial statement. Because, I mean, no error in my trial balance. This will not tally because I've done a manual adjustment here just to showcase it to you. But just to say that there could be a trial balance where there will not be items that is tallying, because a client gives you, he has taken a number, he has, let us say he has put a number here somewhere. In a 1,000 line item, you will never know, right? You will never know, right? So now I am 100% sure I have an opening balance, all the debits and credits, that is only reflected in my closing balance. I've done that. So this is my starting point. And after that, all my adjustments, I'll put an adjustment journal and then only start drafting the financial statement. I mean, this would be my total after the adjustment. And my linkage to my sub note, which is a grouping, I will do it from this column. I'll have a list of adjustment, sum of that, and then start linking it. Clear? Now, one more very useful function, very useful trick or tag that you need to do before we do this is, how many times you have seen a financial statement like this? Not the format. Seen such financial statements? Seen this in financial statement? I'll come to, I'll get to see the questions of, I have 2 questions One is from Monica Jain. Another file where someone says if we can extract a CSV file. I'll get to both issues one by one. So before that, I'll close this point. So one is, you have seen this financial statement. Now, is there any error in it? No. What has happened is the trial balance is with 2 decimal points, and your face of the financial statement is only with the 0, which is not without a decimal point. Because of that, you are having issues. So what generally happens is we would have drafted all this, we would have drafted the financial statement, and then what we will do, we will find that there is an error like this, and then we'll go and put a number, add 1 rupee in other current assets, add 1 rupee in cash balance, subtract 1 rupee in, so that all these items get tallied. A best way to do and eliminate this problem is go here, whenever you're using a function, after the closing balance, after the adjustment, put a round function and remove your decimal points. If you have any item that is appearing as an error in the draft of it, you can be sure that I'm going to use a round function, and you will be very much sure that your trial balance is already rounded it off. So whenever you draft any financial statement, any subnote from here, you can be 100% sure that your financial statement will be not having an error like this. Because I have seen invariably that this would come only at the last minute, where we put the total of all the total items like 1, and it will never get tallied. So we would break our head where to adjust that 1 rupee, whether it is to be done at balance sheet, at cash or other current assets or somewhere, or adjust the profit and loss account, go to rates and taxes, add 1 rupee. All that we will do. We will add 1 rupee because of these decimal points. Your instead of 1 rupee difference, it will become a 2 rupee difference. Then you will subtract 1 rupee there. Then it will not eliminate this difference. So then you will add 0.35. You do all permutation combination, and we waste our time in drafting the financial statement, right? Instead, a very good choice, a simple choice would be go and round off at the trial balance level itself. Clear? Okay, someone is asking me a couple of questions. So I would go, okay, trim formula can be used. Trim formula is more from an angle of using it for reducing the space and not for round off. So round off is a function that would eliminate that. So I'm going one by one queries. So the last, can you please provide an example of consolidation? I'll try to do that with the time availability. One. Second is, yeah, that's a point. How to multiply with -1? Okay. -1, how to multiply is, let us take this example. I want the 66 to be multiplied by -1. So I'll go to another cell and put -1. Copy this, and I want it to get multiplied to these 2 cells, just for an example. I will copy this. I'll go here, select these 2 cells, select paste special. I generally do Control Alt and V. There is another shortcut called Alt E S V. You can use any of that. Alt E S, so that your paste special screen would be visible, or you use Control Alt V. So I use Control Alt V. And then what I do is, I don't want all the characteristics of this cell to be selected. I just want the values to be selected. And with the value, what I want that particular paste special operation to do is, I want it to get multiplied. So once I select that, it will get multiplied. Clear again? So trim formula we have put, rounding is something that we have said. Can we do it instead of adjusting, still keeping the original trial balance intact? So, but we would have to do these steps, export every time we do the trial balance. But you would export the trial balance only once, no? You will not do it every time. So the second time when you export, you can put paste special so that you get values, then you might have to eliminate it. Yeah, that's the problem that we are still have to live with it, because you might not upload multiple trial balance. So if you know that this is not the final level which you're uploading, you upload it at the last moment and do this particular task. Okay. So can we instead do it in a cell, keeping the original cell TB intact? Yeah, that you can do very well. So what one of the member is asking us, Instead of doing it here, can I copy paste this particular column with full, okay, and use the same formula, opening plus debit plus credit, which is the closing. And instead of doing the operation here, can I do it here? Yes, very well, you can do it. There is nothing stopping you from doing it in here. But the only thing that you have to ensure is you don't add another line item in the trial balance. So if you had a line item in the trial balance, then it will get affecting your overall structure. Okay, I think I have answered some of the queries. Consolidation, yeah, I'll come to that. Please provide an example of consolidation. Yeah, I'll come to that. Okay, so till now we got it. Now I'll have some more couple of things that we constantly we come across, and how do you eliminate it? Let us take this example of let us take a note called other current liability. So let us say provision for expenses. I mean, in 2 line items there. You know your article assistant has drafted this particular item from a trial balance, but what he has done is, let us take a live trial balance and see that example. Or you take a tally trial balance itself. Let us take this example. So now I want to know, he has drafted this particular line item where he's putting other current liabilities. Let us say he has added this, he has added that, he has added something here, 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 he has added something like this. Seen such kind of drafts? Seen such kind of drafts? Where you add multiple items from directly from a trial balance. Come across this scenario? Come across this? Now, it would be a nightmare for someone to find out what are the items that get grouped here. Correct? No? Correct. So how can we do this faster? Because whatever we have been speaking till now is about how to draft your financial statement better, right? But you will not, as I told you, the world is not always the best scenario. So you might have a scenario like this. Correct. So what I can do towards that is a question. I'll give you a trick by which you can help it out. So you have this line items that got drafted, that got linked to this particular cell. I copy entirely. I come here and put an apostrophe first, put an apostrophe and paste it so that it becomes a string. It doesn't have any links to it. Here he has linked, so I'm copying the entire item and putting it here. Now what I'll do is, yeah, control plus will help you this function, but it will not be the case. I'll tell you why. You use control open square bracket, it will only take you to the first line item he has linked. So there is a shortcut by which we find out what are the items linked in a particular cell. So let us say if I have linked this to, let us say the share capital cell. This cell I have linked. It's not the correct one. If I use control and open square bracket, it will take you there. But what it will do is, if you have linked more than one item, it will take you to the first cell only. It will not take you to all the cells. You get my point? There are 10 items that is linked here. Then if I use control and open square bracket, it will only take me to that and it will not take me here. Clear? So now what I will do is, I take this, select another column down, use Control F. Whenever you're using Control F after that particular extraction, you should go to your format and put clear. That is, all formats are okay. I'll first go and try to replace is equal to. I'll first eliminate an is equal to here. I'll do that. I've eliminated the is equal to. Now what I'm doing is I'm using Control F. I'm selecting this, using Control F, and I'm going to replace plus with commas. I'm going to replace plus with commas. So what has happened? It has all replaced it. Copy that. Go to this part. This is called naming reference. This is called naming range. Go to that. Go here. Paste it. It would have got selected. Whatever the items that got referred to that cell all got selected. What I'll do, go here, put a color. So now I know items that are in green color are the cells that is mapped to this particular cell. Pakka? Getting it? You want me to repeat it? Repeat this trick? How to do color? Because you just have selected it. So once you go and here put the naming reference, it would have got automatically selected. Those 5 cells or 6 cells would have got automatically selected. You just have to press this color. That's all. Then it will get automatically colored. I'll do it again. So if you have a single item that is referred, then your control open square bracket would work. When they have linked many items, then your control square bracket won't work. One more method is to copy the formula string in a base sheet and press control is equal to, then also it will only do for one cell. Even if you copy that, it will only do it for one sheet. It will not do for multiple. Because it is in the same sheet, you know, all the items would come. But the problem here is you are going to, now let us say the example that you are talking about. Now let us say I have other current liabilities, I have another item. What other current asset? You want to know what are the items that is mapped to other current assets. Okay, now I know here, 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 here. So now what happens is I go copy this place there and use Control F, find out what are the sheets. I can use again copy this there, put Control F and find out sheets. You know, that is a little complicated. So that's the reason why I'm suggesting another method. If all links are there, yes, it was only for typing that only. So you have to copy paste all your line items to the TB sheet. No, it will be difficult, right? So that's the reason why I'm saying that instead of you doing it for all the line items, from this sheet itself you can do. What the other member is suggesting is you copy this, paste it here, the same sheet. And if you use control open square bracket, it will select all the line items. Yeah, true. But how many sub nodes you will take there? No, it will be like you're entirely taking all your sub nodes to your trial balance sheet and trying to link and check what it is there. It will not work. No. So if you want to select for more than one item, what I will generally do is this I'll keep it as green. And this I want to keep it as, let us say, orange. Because when you can't do the grouping and other things and things like that, you have started drafting, you don't know, people are linking it this way. You want to be sure that all things are linked. What I'll do is I'll do a color coding and I'll select all the line items that they have selected here. Remove the is equal to, and it will become a texting. Then what I do is I find plus and replace it with commas. And what I do, I copy this item, paste it in the naming reference. And it will select all the cells that had been linked to that particular item. So that color is green. I'm going to give it as green. Now I want to check what are the items that are got grouped to other current assets. So now remove this, paste this, and your plus you will replace by comma, replace all. Sorry, I have to select only 2 rows because otherwise that would also get replaced. I have replaced it. Select, put a naming reference. What are the rows that got selected here? I know. Put a color code. So I know what are the items that got drafted where. how to do grouping, as in what is the formula to get all the other column liabilities from the trial balance here. Come again, I didn't get this question. Maybe you might have to, we can have a Q&A session. You can park some of your questions here and then you can take it in the Q&A session. So got this particular point. So what are the things that we saw till now? We'll just recast whatever we have seen. I don't know how many, I mean, I have another 15 minutes. So what are the items we started seeing? Is that first is we started how to make an efficient or an effective trial balance from a named trial balance to a coded trial balance. Then we had actually started looking at how a coding structure would look like. Then we had a grouping sheet, how the coding sheets would look like. And then if you are not in a position to code the trial balance in the client environment itself, then what I will do to do it better? That was the question. So then what we suggested is you don't need that. So you have a trial balance that the client has, whatever is the client trial balance that the client is going to have. From there, you can put a grouping sheet. Till this level, I would have already drafted when I'm preparing the format. And from there, I'll have a trial balance. I'll just have to insert the trial balance sheet and put the grouping there so that it get automatically linked. Whenever I'm going to put the grouping here, I will also ensure that I have a conditional formatting and I'll have a data validation enabled so that I know that this is not having any item. This doesn't have any other item other than whatever is there in my grouping sheet, so that I am sure that none of my items of trial balance are missed. After that, we saw some functions like SUMIF, and SUMIFS. We have not discussed because there was no scenario like that. Anyway, we have done VLOOKUP for that. How do you do that? Then we saw features, what we can do with pay special in terms of converting the debits to credits. And we saw an environment where you have a tally trial balance. And from the tally trial balance, how do I eliminate all the totals, subtotals, and I only have the ledgers that is in track? And then how do I put a proper adjustment column so that I know none of the entries gets lefted out? So I use an adjustment column and put a SUMIF for that and put a total against it. And anyway, now what I'll do is I'll put a grouping here. So you know where it is getting grouped. From this grouping, it will automatically flow. So there is nothing being left out. So that your template is done. Then we saw how we can effectively use round function so that we don't end up with an rounding of differences in the face of the financial statement and spend a lot of time in decoding that error. Then we saw if a financial statement where in a particular cell multiple cells are linked, how do I ensure that I go and take that particular line item and figure it out? Clear till now? So there are certain queries in terms of okay, I have one more thing that I want to do before we wind up this today's session and taking up some question and answers. Consolidation, just give me 5 minutes. I'll just check whether I can do that in today's session. Now what I'll do is, another item is, invariably we spend a lot of time in getting the data from Tally to our financial statement. So I have one idea. I don't know whether people have come across that. There is something called ODBC environment. Please share these Excel sheets. I will do it, sir. So one is, there is an environment called where we can pull the data directly from a database. So I'm going to use that an ODBC environment. I'm going to say, so for that in an Excel sheet, I'm going to go to data and I'm going to say get data. And I'll say from other sources and select ODBC environment. I'll tell you the advantage of doing this particular task. So it will ask me to select, this is an Excel version after 2007. So the screen might be as similar to what most of you would use, but this concept remains the same. There are certain queries. What about that? Okay, what about CMA session? I just thought I'll have enough time, but I have less time, but I'll touch upon it a little bit, sir. So when it comes to data source section, what I'll do is I've already installed the ODBC environment. So ODBC 64 is a Tally data that I have. There are two ODBCs. One is where it's a 64-bit and that is a 84-bit, 32-bit. So I have a 64-bit, I've connected that. So it will, once I connect that, it will automatically open what is the Tally data that I have, because I've kept the Tally data open. I go to model, I go to a Tally user, there is no user ID password for this particular Tally. Then I say I want ledger. So it will say that it will give me all the columns that are there with respect to this particular table. Then I give transform data. In the earlier version of an Excel, you can select what column you wanted. In now, what happens is everything that comes from the Excel is getting drafted. So what I will do is I need only 2 columns here. So what I will do is I'll use a find function. I'll remove all this column. I don't need all this column. All I need is only 2 columns. One is name of the ledger. So for that, what I can do is I can select this column, and this is a Power Query environment. Go little further, go little further, go little further. I have selected one column. I'm using control. I have pressed the control. I'm just waiting for me to find out the next column. So which is my parent. Parent is nothing but under what grouping this is group. This ledger is group. I will say remove other columns for now. So I need only this. I'm saying close and load. Now I got all the ledgers that is there in tally data and the grouping it belongs. I have all the ledgers and the parent grouping, the first level grouping it belongs. Now imagine that we have in our client environment a grouped TD, a coded trial balance. Your task is most simplified. Now what I would do is I have taken this in entirety. I will use a left function if I have a code. So in this I have added only one tally. So this is 301 and that's not appearing because I have not added it. I didn't add it. So now assuming I have added in the tally all this grouping at 301040. Now let us say data. Now the data grouping for a moment, let us assume 301 901 trading data. All I have to do is left. I know it is 7 digit. 7 digit. I get the code. I mean 6. I have put here. Sorry, 6 digit. I've got the code. Now you have no task left. I have already taken the what is the primary grouping that is there in the tally for the entire trial balance. So I know what grouping this belongs. You remember, no, when we started discussing this session, we have to put a grouping here. You have to put a grouping here. I need not do that. I already have the grouping here. All I will do is do a VLOOKUP. That's all. So what happens? My drafting financial statement will not take more than half an hour once a trial balance is ready because I have all the formats preset. Can you repeat this part? Okay. So I'll go again. So I go to data. The screen will not be the same in your Excel. It might be different depending on your version. I'll use get data. I'll say from other sources. I'll say from ODBC. In the ODBC, I have other sources that I have selected. And I'm going to select tally as an environment. Model, tally user. There are a lot of tables here. I don't need all these tables. I need only ledger as a table. So I need this table. I'll say load. Here what would happen is, whatever is the data in the particular, what are the columns, there will be n number of columns in that. It will come and populate. So what I have done is, instead of doing all that item, I can restrict it to, so I'll say I'm dropping this query. I'm going to edit this. So it will come to this environment where I have all the columns. I don't need all these columns. All I need is only 2 columns for this exercise. You can take other columns if you want, but that's not relevant. If you're doing, for example, you are doing a vendor-wise exercise. You want to know vendor-wise GST number. Okay. You want to know vendor-wise what is a mailing address. Vendor-wise you want to know what is accounting code. Vendor-wise you want to know what is a banking code. All that you can use this particular ODBC environment and extract at one shot. So I want the name. I don't want any other column. I want the grouping column. I don't want all that. So see here, you have your income tax number. If the client is entering it correctly, you get all the data here. So if you want to do a TDS verification, you just put all the columns here. Okay, you have a primary group. Wherever the primary group is sundry creditors, you will take that, and you know the TAN number, you know the PAN number of the customer, so you can do your TDS verification in no time. You need not wait for what are the items that they have done properly. You need not do a one-by-one verification. I need only these 3 items. So I'll say I want these, remove other columns. And after this, I'm going to say close and load. This is a Power Query environment. But even before your environment, you can select what these 2 columns that you need. So it would automatically got reflected. Now, with respect to CMA data, I have done one small exercise that alone I would be interested to show, because other items I don't have the time today. I thought I can squeeze in that, but I couldn't. I'm sorry for it. So what I will do is, whenever I have my financial statement prepared, I will have this section also prepared along with it. This section is nothing but I have my balance sheet P&L. From there, I have linked all these items and all ratios that are required. All ratios that generally a CMA might ask. I have net worth, working capital, quick, current, debt, equity, EFS, EPS, profitability ratios like gross profit, net profit, EBITDA, EBITDA to operating income, EBITDA to total income, interest to total income, all kind of questions that might come from your banker. I have all the questions ready. Now I have pasted specially here because just to show that this data works, because assuming I'm going to delete it, you will have all items as divide. It will look odd. So that's the reason. I have linked all these numbers to my balance sheet and P&L in my draft format itself. So all that I'll do is I'll link these items to that. So first I know what are the ratios that I'm operating with. Now, if you're going to start doing a projection, you have your gross profit ratio of last 5 years ready, last 3 years ready. So I will have last 2 years data always ready for a client with respect to ratios. Now, as and when it adds up, I will do projections based on the ratios here, so that my projections will also be incommensurate with what was my past trend. I can compare all that using this. Okay. I mean, I couldn't touch upon it in maximum extent. So, but I just hope I'll have another opportunity to discuss that part in detail. Then there were questions on how to do consolidation as such. But I don't think so I have the timeline for it. Maybe you can put across, I'll anyway put as my email ID here, so people can put me across a query. I'll send you I am going to put my email ID to everyone. So if you have any query, I mean this consolidation part alone, if you can send me a mail on, then I think I can send you certain formats that I already have and certain things that I already use. So I think we have come closely 2 hours of session. And if you have any questions specifically beyond what we have discussed, I think we can discuss now. If you have some specific Excel issues that you are facing when you are drafting financial statement, apart from what I have done. No, you have to give it will not ask for the credentials. It will not ask for the path and all. You should keep the tally data open. Okay. If it asks for the path, you should put the user ID and password. So here there is no user ID and password. So if you have this query, and I'm going to say edit this query. So before I put it here, it will have a property. So you will have to put what is the name of the user and password. If a client has a password and email ID. So once you put the password and email ID, automatically it allows you to go there. It also works in Taliban. It starts worked in Tally 7.2, Tally 9, if my memory is right. Any questions specifically? Some Excel issues that you have faced when drafting financial statement, which I have not discussed about. Any queries, any issues? Can we have this CMA Excel? Okay, I don't have it. I think I don't know whether we have the time for that particular thing. We have only a couple of minutes left, so I don't know. I have prepared certain draft, but I don't know if we can discuss that because till 7 is what is a session, right? So, but we can take it up. I just hope we can have one more session on that. I'll just discuss with Ahmedabad branch. We can have a discussion by one or someone else. Any other thoughts? Otherwise, I think we can end this day's session. And I'm not. I mean, I mean, in Ahmedabad branch, who's taking over? Is there someone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, sir, we can end the session. Just a request, if you can share today's presentation with our participants. You can share on Ahmedabad branch mail and we'll share with the participants.
I'll do it. I'll do all the Excel sheets. Can we have a way more advanced session? Yeah, we can, 100%. So we have to draft it as advanced Excel. So where we can discuss certain macros that we use in drafting the financial statement. But this is not like, this is an intro session. Like you have different levels of participants, right? So we can have an advanced session anytime. Okay. So thank you, friends. Thank you for your patient listening. And
I'll request CA Swati Panchal to give a vote of thanks to sir.
Thank you, Jalak. Good evening to everyone. I would like to express my sincere thanks on behalf of Ahmedabad branch of WRC of ICI to CA Venkatesan sir for giving excellent coverage to his speech on financial statements and CMA reports. It was practical session and enriching experience for all members. Seeing comment parts, it is concluded that all members have enjoyed sessions. We are all inspired by your great words. Well, such an event cannot happen overnight. We'll start rolling around a week ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be supported by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues from Institute who knows their job and are results oriented. Once again, I would like to say that we all are most grateful to the speakers on this forum. We thank you for being with us this evening. It's a great pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. With this, meeting is officially over, but I would like to hand over to presiding officer Jalak if she has to say something. Jalak, over to you.
Okay, sir. Then if there is no more discussion, then we can end the session.
yeah, so I have put my email ID in the group. So if in the chat. So if anyone have specific queries apart from that, you can always. I'll be happy to connect. Thank you, friends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
You all can note down this mail ID. Then we can end the meeting. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Yeah.
for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.